Local 3's men's basketball tournament coverage from Lexington is brought to you by Warren & Griffin, your local 5-star law firm.
Well, thanks to some high-caliber guard play, the Vols are moving on to the second round of the NCAA tournament after a 77-62 win over SoCon's Wofford last night inside Rupp Arena. And oh, by the way, that is where we find Sports Director Ben Bobick outside Rupp in Lexington. Ben joining us live as this coverage, the best coverage around, continues. What a great time to reconnect with my old friend. They've got UCLA tomorrow night. Ben, I understand it's going to be a pretty late night, huh?
Yeah, Paul, the dream team back together here, reconnected, the OG sports department. You got to love it, baby. But, yeah, you mentioned it. You know how these things work. 9:40 tip tomorrow inside Rupp Arena here in Lexington. I wish I had answers for you. You wish you had answers for people. But the only thing I can maybe have is because they're playing UCLA and the Los Angeles area is 3 hours behind, so maybe they wanted a later tip. But you know what? It's a Saturday. Get yourself that extra cup of coffee. Take that nap. It may be your day off. Relax. Enjoy some March Madness. So this is always an interesting day, too, that day off between games where you're able to take a deep breath. Okay, we're moving on, and that's about as much as you're allowed to take because it's on to preparing for the next opponent and for the Tennessee Volunteers. That is the UCLA Bruins, who smacked down on Utah State last night, double-digit winners. So, but that's about it when it comes to taking that deep breath here in the in between games. They'll do some practicing today. They're probably up late in ice tubs, all that good stuff. The coaches are probably up overnight checking out game film for the Bruins. But you know what? It's always an interesting time, interesting day in between. And but the team's prepared. They've been here before. Some have been here before. Some are doing it for the very first time.
We'll get back and guys will get in those ice tubs and just try to get their bodies back, and because you expect it to be another grind game and hard fought and possession game.
I mean, honestly, I haven't been in this position, so I don't really know how it's going to look, but I assume we're going to be happy for, like you said, 15, 20 minutes, and then, just get ready for the next one.
It goes without saying you cannot mention college basketball history without talking UCLA. The Bruins have won a historic 11 national titles, though they haven't won one in 30 years. They were just in the Final Four a few years ago. These two teams have only played once. It was back in 1977 in Atlanta, Georgia. The Vols fell to the Bruins on that day. So we are going to hear from the team this afternoon. Locker room availability around 3 o'clock, so we're going to see how they're rested, see how they're doing as they prepare for the Bruins. And, Paul, that 9:40 tip, we're going to have to schedule in maybe a nap later, at least tomorrow a nap as we get ready for that one. But you know what, we say that, but there's so much exciting basketball on that we're going to be glued to the TVs anyway.
Yeah, if you don't look at the clock, it's almost like you forget what time it is when you're watching it all day, all afternoon. Ben, let me ask you this while I have you. You mentioned UCLA, one of the Blue Buds, Coach Wooden, the history. Granted, they've lost 10 games this year. It's not that national caliber team, but still, teams like that, you almost get the sense they know what they're doing in a tournament like this.
They do, and you know what? You think about this team obviously not being around when Coach Wooden was around, but still, it's still UCLA, right? They are, when you talk about Blue Bloods, they're probably the first one you name off. And like we mentioned, this team was in the Final Four just a few years ago. Their coach knows how to get them there, and they've won 12 of their past 16 games. So you talk about wanting to play your best basketball later in the season. The Bruins may be doing so. They looked great last night against Utah State, so the Vols are definitely going to have their hands full tomorrow night.
Ben, thank you so much. Enjoy your time out there. Be safe. Wait, before we say bye, let me get this is just too good. We haven't done this in a while. I got to get a picture. You can't see me right now, but I'm taking a picture of us, Ben. Thank you. Have fun out there. We'll see you when you get back.